I got so many calls from institutional investors saying they are never going to stop printing money. Now's the time to get into Bitcoin, and we're all in.
More than 300% return on Bitcoin
Correct.
is what you're forecasting.
Bitcoin is Facebook for money. If Facebook's worth $1 trillion because it stores the social energy of 1 billion people, Bitcoin has got to be worth 100x that much because it's storing the money of 1 billion people.
We're paddling down this river, unsure of what's to come. 2020 is behind us and 2021 lies ahead. Will you look back on these next 365 days proud of the seeds you planted? It's easy to see a $29,000 Bitcoin price and feel like you're late to the party, but that's exactly what people thought when they witnessed a $100 Bitcoin price after knowing it was once $1. In order to see the vast depth of the forest, you have to step back from the trees. One day when the Bitcoin price exceeds $1 million per BTC, people will have the same doubts and be asking the same questions. Bitcoin at $29,000 is a bargain simply because we know its intrinsic value and where it's going. What do you think will play out when we have our first national government or central bank officially decide to hold Bitcoin as a reserve asset? Or when we capture 50% of gold's market cap? Or when we get our first S&P 500 company do what MicroStrategy or MassMutual have already done? It's coming. We have an opportunity to participate in the greatest transfer of wealth we'll see in our lifetimes. Are you a participant, or will you be left behind?
All right, final trades in just a minute. However, first we have another special Ask Halftime video question, this one from Kevin O'Leary.
Hey, Mr. Wonderful here, and I've got a really simple question for the traders, and I don't want the loosey-goosey all over the map answer. Yes or no will suffice. Do you own any Bitcoin?
I own it.
Okay.
I've owned it since 2017, Scott, and I think it goes a lot higher than this. I'll just say that to Kevin directly.
Okay. It was Russell Okung. He's the Pro Bowl offensive tackle with the Carolina Panthers today. He'll receive half of his $13 million salary in Bitcoin. It's funny. Back in May of last year, he tweeted, "Pay me in Bitcoin." And today, paid in Bitcoin was another one from at Russell Okung.
You know, this was the year that institutions really embraced crypto, Bitcoin in particular. And it really stemmed from what happened in March when we had that massive sell-off, and all of a sudden, all the central banks in the world came in and printed money. I got so many calls from institutional investors saying they are never going to stop printing money. Now's the time to get into Bitcoin, and we're all in. So you look at who's gotten in, right? We had Paul Tudor Jones earlier in the year. We've got MassMutual. We've got Square. We've got MicroStrategy. We've got multiple different funds opening up, different ways to get in. And to Dan's point, you know, there's a lot more access and ease of access to this asset class now.
Can you put a price on your level of bullishness?
We are extremely bullish. Our confidence in it has gone up since 2017 because what we saw was that Bitcoin's share of the crypto asset ecosystem moved from the low 30% range in terms of value, network values, into the low 70% range. And what did that tell us? That confirmed in our mind that Bitcoin is the reserve currency of the crypto asset ecosystem. So it is the reserve cryptocurrency, which is a very important role. It's the flight to safety currency. Bitcoin's blockchain is the most secure of any other blockchain. And so it makes sense that Bitcoin would be the reserve currency of the crypto asset ecosystem.
Tom Lee joins us. He's the head of research for Fundstrat Global Advisors. Tom, great to have you with us.
You know, 2021 is going to be a lot like 2017, which means Bitcoin should do even better in 2021 than it did in 2020. So something above 300%.
More than 300% return on Bitcoin
Correct.
is what you're forecasting. We were just having a conversation about the interplay or the relationship potentially of a weaker dollar and a stronger Bitcoin. Is that part of this thesis? Is that
this year? You know, we did see a lot of central bank liquidity. The dollar was really strong, surprisingly, for much of the year. But its weakness now really is going to make people think. You know, how do you sort of keep a unit in sound money? A lot of people thought gold would be that sort of store, and I think it still has a reasonable basis to be, you know, for someone to be long gold. But I think for younger folks and those who are in the digital generation, Bitcoin is that digital asset that they want to hold as a store value.
All right,
Bitcoin is rotating this year from the old insight narrative, which is it's an uncorrelated speculative asset traded by retail traders on offshore exchanges with leverage that's kind of cool. It's rotating to a new insight, which is it's the world's best long duration investment grade safe haven treasury asset. It's something you're gonna use to give money to your grandchildren. If you want to have money 30 years from now, 60 years from now, and you want to put your money in property that the state can't seize, no government, the government can't get at, it's not going to be taxed away like real estate, it's going to be there for 30 years, 40 years, then this is the ultimate long duration safe haven asset. You see companies like my company, we have like nearly 800 million in it right now. And you'll see insurance companies like Mass Mutual putting 100 million in. That's 100 million out of a $230 billion general fund. What happens when they put 1% in or 2% in? So that rotation from speculative asset to safe haven asset is a big idea, because you go from 1% of the people betting 1% of their money to 100% of the people betting 50% of their money. Okay, big idea. Like there's $300 trillion worth of monetary energy sitting between bond stocks and real estate. Half of it just wants a store of value. So there's no reason why $150 trillion wouldn't flow into the Bitcoin network. And so we're not talking about demonetizing gold. We're talking about the people that stampeded to gold or S&P indexes or stock indexes or bond indexes. If you don't love, if you own Tesla, you love it. But there's a lot of people that buy stocks they don't love. They just put it in there because they don't want to lose their money. And so they will use Bitcoin as a savings account. It's like the savings and loan at the end of the universe. Savings and loan in cyberspace that's available to 7.8 billion people where no politician can steal your money. Right? That's a simple idea. Everybody on earth needs it. Simple. There's another idea, though, which is this is the first truly engineered monetary network in the history of the world. And by that, I mean, it's a closed, thermodynamically sound monetary system. If you put $100 million in the system, it's like charging a battery. It has no power loss. You can store it for 100 years. It'll still be there. Every other monetary system has a power loss in it. It bleeds energy. Your money into electricity and store it in a battery, you lose 2% a month. You have 24% inflation rate a year. You can't move electricity around without losing 6% of it over the course of a few hundred miles. So what if I wanted to store all my monetary energy and I didn't want to lose it every month or every year or every decade? Well, I design a closed system, 21 million gold coins. None come in, none go out. All I can do is heat it up or cool it down. That's the definition of a thermodynamic closed system. Bitcoin is the first example of that system. What that means is that you can collect all of the monetary energy in the world, store it in this battery, hold it for 100 years, channel it through time and space with no energy loss. It's an engineering breakthrough. It's like an aqueduct. It's like an electrical power system or grid. So if I said to you, I thought I'd build a city, but I thought I'd plug it into an aqueduct, you wouldn't say I'm crazy. You would say that's a good idea so that all your people don't die due to lack of water and sanitation, right? It's like building a city on a river. Is that a crazy idea or a good idea to have a river flowing through the city? What if I decided I was going to have a city with roads in it? Good idea, bad idea? How about my house is going to be wired for electricity? Good idea, bad idea? Or I have a company, we're going to be on the internet. Okay, it's not risky to be on the internet with electricity and have running water. These are not risky things, but they were pretty crazy ideas before we had the internet, electricity, and running water. Okay, so Bitcoin is a monetary network. When Jack Dorsey plugged Square into it, he plugged Square into the monetary network. PayPal is plugged into the monetary network. MicroStrategy plugged itself into the monetary network. Why? If you're in cash, you're losing 15% of your energy a year. If you're in gold, you're losing 3 or 4% of your energy a year. If you're using a stock portfolio, you got to guess Google versus Facebook versus Amazon versus Tesla and juggle the thing and worry about what happens every quarter. It's too complicated. What if I just wanted to plug into a monetary network that will store and protect my energy from depletion for the next decade? No one's ever figured it out. Bitcoin is Facebook for money. If Facebook's worth $1 trillion because it stores the social energy of 1 billion people or 2 billion, Bitcoin has got to be worth 100x that much because it's storing the money of 1 billion people. When Rupert Murdoch shows up to Facebook, he doesn't bring 1 billion friends. When Rupert Murdoch shows up to Bitcoin, he's going to drop $1 billion on the network. It's a pretty big idea. It's not a speculative, uncorrelated asset. It's the first monetary network in the history of the world that we figured out how to make work.
Remember, the internet in 1994 was not used nor understood by the mainstream. Yet today, we can't imagine life without it.
Allison, can you explain what internet is?
Blockchain technology and crypto assets will disrupt life as we know it in the years to come. Having an ownership stake in these assets will be life-changing. This is not financial advice, but I'll continue to provide you with key updates and crypto news, so be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss a thing. There's power in numbers, and even more power in knowledge, so share this content with those close to you so we don't leave anyone behind. This is Rex, signing out.